So our main trio has been arrested because obviously crime, trying to kill your leader, is called assassination, and they don't approve of it. Most government officials don't. Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I like to watch movies. And today we are talking about Mickey 17. When I heard that there was going to be a sci-fi movie with R. Pats in it, I was sat in my seat, ready for the movie to start playing. And then when I heard Bong Joon-ho was the filmmaker behind it, I was cemented to my seat. It was bad. Like, I was anticipating the shit out of this movie, and am I disappointed? No. But was it what I wanted? No. For those of you who might be unaware, Mickey 17 is Bong Joon-ho's follow-up to his 2019 Best Picture Oscar-winning movie, Parasite.
침팬지를 그린 거죠?
자화상이에요.
역시.
Which I did watch when I lived in San Francisco. And yes, I had an existential walk home afterwards. It was a 20-minute walk home, and I was like, who am I? Who am I? If you watched Anora, then you probably understand that feeling. And to follow up his sniper of a movie that's about class, Joon-ho cashed in his blank check from Warner Brothers to make a $118 million sci-fi movie about cloning, colonization, and a megachurch corporation. What's not to love? It's literally a manifestation of like what's happening in our world right now. And like, girls, everything's peachy. There is a lot going on in this movie, and yet I fear it is saying absolutely nothing. All I'm hearing is crickets. Yes, this is totally a sci-fi movie that doesn't romanticize like the future of space travel, because honestly, it's gonna look a lot like Alien, where we're just like hauling things out. Oh my god, you guys, I just recently found out about the game mouthwash. That's the future of space travel. Like literally. We are gonna get into space and we're immediately going to make it like a drop shipping corporation situation up there. It gives me the ick, like major ickiness. But girls, that's capitalism. Hate to tell ya. And unfortunately, it is very enticing, which is how people get sucked into it and they get chewed up and spat back out, because that's the way this unfortunate world works, where we give people power and money just to feel something. And I get it. Like, hello, I'm a consumer at heart. Yes, I will pay $10 for a bucket of popcorn or for sweet tart ropes at the movie theater because I like it and it makes me feel good about myself. Am I wasting money? Yeah. Also, guys, I just want to let you know that like I am trying to make TikToks now. I'm trying to get over that fear that I have about putting myself on TikTok, and I'm gonna start sharing like my instant reactions to movies and also just like my movie theater experience when I'm like doing it. I'm gonna show you the snacks that I'm normally munching on. 95% of the time it's gonna be a sweet tart rope. I'm a creature of habit. I love sweet tart ropes. Sue me. Oh, and I love a Raisinette. Big Raisinette girly. But back to Mickey 17. This is Bong Joon-ho's third Hollywood co-produced movie, and he is once again looking at the faults of the system. In this movie particularly, he is looking at the faults of the US government. He really looked at us and was like, damn, it seems a little fucked up right now, you guys. You good? But in this movie, just like any of Bong Joon-ho's other movies, he's focusing on how people with power abuse it and how we as a society keep like electing and upholding these people simply because it benefits us slightly. And like when that's all you know, it's really hard to advocate for yourself and find any like self-worth in a system that like actively tells you to not think about yourself or your well-being. And then like it's hard to change a system because it just seems so big and all-consuming. It's like, what can one single person do? How can they make change? And while that's like such an interesting concept for a movie, that is not what Mickey 17 is really about. Instead, it's like this loser character who goes on like a hero's journey in some sort of way to self-acceptance, like not actualization or like being a hero or whatever. He's just like kind of a side character, made main character, just bopping and booping around. And like that's a fun concept and cool story, but like there are 6 plot lines in this movie and they all are ramming against each other like tectonic plates, and like you can feel something happening, but like what do? I'm pretty sure you just like stand in a doorway and hope for it to end. But there's too many storylines that are all of like equal interest with different tones that just like don't work together. And then you have half-baked characters that we're just like, what are they doing here? Who is this? Who are they? Why are they here? Why are they important? And when the credits start rolling, I'm just like, okay, what was that about? Like, what am I actually supposed to take away from this movie? Because I took nothing. Bong Joon-ho, tell me what I'm supposed to do. And I know I'm coming hot and heavy with the criticism right now, but like, I really did like this movie. I enjoyed it. R. Pats is killing it. No surprise. This man could be like the next Hollywood it boy in the same way that Timothée Chalamet is, but like he can't give a normal interview to like save his life. But like, would we want him to change? No. We love him the way he is. He is our perfect little weird boy, and I love him for it. Also, the creature design in this movie is just so good. Their little hands and like their little roly-poly bodies is like everything to me. It is pure serotonin to my brain. I guess my main problem is that like in this otherwise great movie, it just is kind of a mess. I know we're in like this new era of what it's being called like new literalism, where like movies are extremely literal, but like you have to be good at being super literal for it to be a tight ass movie. You can't just be like, here's a thought that I want to have and make it about the movie, bonk bonk, hope you get it. It's like putting a lot of work and expectations on the audience without like saying anything of value. And like, I'm not the only one who's noticing this. In her article for The New Yorker, Namwali Serpell described new lyricism as a style that hammers away at us like it's beating a dead horse. As these phrases imply, to restate the screaming obvious does a kind of violence to art. Serpell suggests that like this new era or this trend in storytelling is coming from like either our lack of media literacy or just the media dumbing itself down for whatever reason. But I kind of want to push back at like her theory of it like doing violence to art, because I think that's like a little intense. I do think transparency and like hammering away at ideas does have purpose and it does have impact, because then like people can't miss the message. They can't like scramble it up and be like, oh, I'm gonna make this fit whatever I attach myself to. Like a really good example is Barbie. That movie is just about existence under the patriarchy and how it does more harm to both men and women. Yes, it's like feminism 101. That was a big criticism of it. But like some people were like missing the point completely and watching the movie and going, see, none of these problems would exist if we adhered to traditional values, like having 14 children, and just like made men more manly. No. But when you're trying to appeal to a broad audience, especially when you're making a Hollywood movie that's supposed to be a 4-quadrant film, it's like you can't just make it for a specific demographic. You have to make it for all the demographics, i.e. a 4-quadrant movie. And I don't think that style or that intention benefits this movie whatsoever. I think it does harm. And I think that's what does a lot of harm to a lot of like the new literalism movies. But then I think that's our job as cinephiles and moviegoers, is to sit down, watch movies, engage with it, and go, is this movie for me? Do I agree with its metaphors or its hammering away at ideas? If it has value to you, that's amazing. Never shut up about it. But if it doesn't, move on. That's life. All this to say is like, I understand why people are being super literal, and it could be like a studio no. I wouldn't be surprised. But there are movies out there that don't adhere to the storytelling trend. You just have to actually like look. But back to Mickey 17. Enough of this tangent. It's a mess of a movie, and I want to talk about it more, so let's get into this plot. Okay, so first thing is first, we must meet our characters. We have Mickey, played by Robert Pattinson. Where are my Twilight girlies at? Let me hear you scream. Pause up. Guys, do you remember the movie Remember Me? I've been talking about it a lot recently to people. I will never get over that ending. Are you fucking shitting me?
Hello.
What do you need to know about Mickey? He's a weirdo. He doesn't fit in. He's what we would call an expendable, which is literally somebody who signs up to be cloned and used as a lab rat. Each clone keeps all of the previous Mickey's memories, but you know, they're their own person in a sense. Every time he dies, he gets copied back out, memories get uploaded, and he lives as if he never died, but he remembers his death. Ugh, the ethics. I will say Arpats really does carry this movie. He does such a good job. And I think he's reason enough for you to go to the movies and watch him, because he is, again, a star. Next up is Nasha, played by Naomi Ackie, which you saw her last year in Blink Twice. She is essentially a first responder on the ship and Mickey's love interest. Why is she in love with Mickey? Great question, girls. The next person we need to introduce is Kenneth Marshall, played by Mark Ruffalo. He is a failed politician who is leading an expedition to go colonize a planet under the support and the supervision of a mega church corporation. No notes. Moving on. Kenneth's wife is Ylfa. It's like Ylfa. I can't pronounce it. We're gonna call her by her actor's name, who is Toni Collette. I am your mother. You understand? All I do is worry and slave and defend you. And all I get back is that fucking face on your face. All you need to know about Toni Collette's character is that she loves to make a sauce, and she is extremely detached from reality because of all the power that her husband has. She is like, what is poor? Anybody? And she is chewing, munching, swallowing, and digesting every scene she is in. I think she's truly incredible. The last character is Timo, played by Steven Yeun, and he sucks dick. All right, plot time. The film opens up and we immediately meet Mickey in a precarious situation. He has fallen into an ice hole and somehow survived. He's even shocked. He's like, I'm not dead. What the fuck is happening here? To make things better, Timo arrived and is like, hey Mickey, you made it. You're alive. That's crazy. But then Timo picks up the gun and he's like, oh, home base is gonna be so excited to see that the gun didn't die when you fell down this hole. Thanks so much, Mickey. Nothing but love and light. See you later, Gator. And Mickey's like, I guess. Like, get Mickey help, dude. He's alive. But that's not gonna happen because Mickey is an expendable. It's like, if he's in a hole, why waste time and energy helping someone who could just freeze and starve to death? But there is a third option beyond like freezing and starvation. It's being eaten alive by these little creepers that are coming out of the cave. You hate to see it. This is the planet's native species known as creepers. And before Timo leaves, he looks down at Mickey and he goes,
what's it feel like to die?
Sir, if you do not get out of here in 3 seconds. So how did we get here? Well, to know that, we gotta jump back 4 years. We're on Earth. Mickey and Timo are running and they're wearing shirts with macarons on it. And Mickey tells us in voiceover that they opened a macaron store with a loan shark's money and the store failed. How? What was in the macarons, Mickey? They get got like almost immediately and they get shown by the loan shark what's going to happen to them if they don't pay back their loan. And literally they are going to get sawed in half and I'm assuming eaten because he's a cannibal. Hoping to escape the loan sharks, Timo's like, I have this bright idea. What if we just left Earth? Again, no notes. They're gonna join a spaceship that is being led by Kenneth Marshall and his like devoted followers and other people who are running away from things on Earth, go up into space and colonize a planet for the sake of a mega church who wants to like, I don't know. Actually, I don't know what they want to do on the planet. I think they just want to like do what the Puritans did with North America. So like, thinking he has no skills to contribute, he's like, oh, I'll be an expendable. And they're just like, and you read the paperwork? And he's like, yeah. Totally. And they're like, great, let's take you to this back room so you can get prepped to be an expendable because that's amazing. Nobody else is signing up for this job. And that's a red flag if I've ever heard one. But what about Timo? What's he up to? Oh, well, he has abandoned Mickey to become a pilot for the space mission. And like, he just got his pilot's license. Like, lie on that resume, girly pop. Like, do it. Something you need to know about the expendable program, cloning is only allowed in space because it is banned on Earth for like ethic reasons, obviously. But there's no ethics in space. That's the motherfucking Wild West, baby. They are cowboy bebopping it up there. Part of the process of becoming expendable is that you have to like remember all of those memories that you might have repressed. And so we see like a fundamental moment for Mickey where he pushes a button as a kid in his mom's car and that causes her to crash and die. R.I.P. He's sobbing and crying and having a full breakdown because of this. And like nobody's giving him the time of day to like process these emotions. Instead, they're just like, okay, now die. No one has time for Mickey. And so why should Mickey make time for himself? Like, why would you care about yourself when no one cares about you? And that's kind of the state he's in. And he's just like, womp womp, life is tough. And yet I want to live. And I'm like, okay, but what for, Mickey? What is your purpose? But everyone is so mean to Mickey except for like 3 people. And that's a scientist who basically helps print him out every time he dies. And then 2 soldiers, one of them being Nasha. Her and Mickey meet like on one of the first days on the ship when Kenneth is like doing some like rally speech in the cafeteria and she's like, what the fuck ever. I want to know why she's on the ship if she's not like a follower of Kenneth. We're never gonna find out. But for some reason she is locked in with Mickey. She's like, that's my man. And we don't need to know why it works because it just works, girls, and that's love. She's also like so supportive of him. Like every time he's dying she is there like soothing him when nobody else is there. Like when he's dying from like toxic gas, she has like a full suit on and it's like holding him in her arms and I'm like, God damn, that's romantic as hell. I hope everyone finds love like that, honestly. And most of Mickey's deaths are like through gases or like through experimental vaccines and things like that, all to basically help the colonization be able to form a livable society on this planet. And by the time all these experiments are done, we are left with Mickey 17. And life on the ship has not been easy, you guys. Like, it is actually really tough to live in space. It's only like made worse by the fact that Kenneth is a fascist. I mean, his name is Kenneth, so like do the math. But he's constantly like reducing people's rations if they like don't do something that he wants them to do, or just like because he can. He's also like implementing new rules like no sex, which I don't think anybody follows. And it's just like, brother man, I don't know what to tell you, but like do better. This is why you weren't elected on Earth. But everything he's doing is in service of the church. I mean, the company. And again, everybody aboard the ship is either a faithful follower to him or is running from something on Earth. So they don't really put up a fight because they're just like, well, what else are we gonna do? This is just the way we have to live. Does it sound familiar, girls and boys? No? Great. So basically, Kenneth is a giant piss baby in space who is just throwing tantrums because he can and wants to. Like, one of the biggest tantrum he has is like when Mickey is on a mission with like 3 other people to like explore the planet, and they end up seeing the creepers for the first time, and one of the girls is like, oh, I'm scared and fearful of this thing, let me shoot it. She ends up missing it completely and shoots the rocks all around her, which causes the cave to collapse in on her and kill her. And Kenneth is like, Mickey, why didn't you sacrifice your life to save her? Like, what the actual heck? And Mickey's like, what was I gonna do? Literally, the only thing I could do is like jump in and also die with her. Like, no one's gonna benefit from that situation. But this is the state we're in, and all of this gets us to catch up with Mickey at the bottom of that ice cavern, about to be eaten by the creepers. But then they lick him, and he's like, oh, they wanna see if I'm tasty. And Arpats, I have to tell you this. You totally are. But wait. They don't eat him. Instead, they drag him through the caverns and they're like, we're gonna help you get out of here, dudette. We love you. Nothing but love and light. Let's get you back up with your peoples. And guys, their character design, I mentioned it earlier, but it is so stinking cute. Also, the way that the humans interact with the CGI creatures is just like, it's really good.
She's really good.
But Mickey 17 doesn't die, and that's the important part. He's like, thanks, I guess. Am I not tasty enough? Why does nobody want me? I have problems. We'll unpack it later, don't worry. He has to get back to his bed and to his girl. He hitches a ride back onto this like truck that's pulling in a rock, and he's just like, I'm back, no one pays attention, no one's noticing me, but the time is weird. That can't be accurate. How long was I actually out there? I don't understand what this whole time thing was about because we never come back to it, so like, purge it from your memory. We're moving on. He gets back to his like dorm room and he's laying down and he's like, oh, what a day. When another Mickey pops up. Now, who is this? Girls and gays, let's meet Mickey 18. And oh my God, he has me in a literal chokehold. He's broody, he's moody, he's full of angst. He's literally Arpats as either Edward Cullen or as, what's his fucking name? Bruce Wayne. Is he problematic? Yeah. But like, I think I've laid the foundation to let you know that I have a soft spot for problematic men who are anarchists. But here's the gag. Being a multiple is a big no-no in the society, and it is punishable by total erasure. We get another flashback that like explains why this is like an ethical no-no, and it's because the guy who invented the cloning process used it to make 3 versions of him, and one of these versions was going out and brutally murdering homeless people. Yeah, that's why you can't make duplicates, because it's just like, how do you... yeah, they never really give like a really good point about like why you can't make duplicates of other people. They're just like, oh, this one bad thing happened and we're trying to avoid that situation in the future. But like, if you're really like, if it's government controlled and not being used all willy-nilly, then I think we're fine. But I see how it could get out of control. Damn. But yes, multiples, big no-no, because you know, they'll die and they'll lose everything they've ever had in their life, including Nasha. So what's gonna happen? Mickey 18 immediately tries to kill Mickey 17. No, but you know what? I do advocate for Mickey 18, so like... He tries to take Mickey 17 out by hitting him in the back of the head with a dumbbell and then dropping his body in an incinerator. Girls. But Mickey 17 wakes up right in time, and girls, he is kicking and screaming and fighting for his literal life. He ends up getting an advantage over Mickey 18 and is like, I don't want to murder you, dude, but like, let's figure something out, because like, you are me and I am you. Let me work on the odd days, you can work on the even days. How are they gonna share Nasha? That's a good question. I don't know. Wait, quick, someone's coming. We gotta hide. Timo walks in and he is selling essentially purified air to people to use as drugs. And Mickey 18 is like, I hate Timo. I hate that he got us into this situation. I hate that he is the reason I am the 18th version of myself. let's kill him. And girls, he almost does. Like, he literally almost pushes Timu into the incinerator. But then Nasha and, like, the general walk in and they're like, what's going on in here? And Mickey 18, like, pulls a fast one. He's like, Timo, say you tripped and fell and I helped you out of the incinerator, or I will literally stab you in the neck right here, right now. And Timo's like, self-preservation. I tripped. As everyone's talking, Mickey 17 is watching as Mickey 18 rubs up on Nasha, and like, I get it, that's his girlfriend too, and the ethics are weird. But he's like, oh, I'm gonna figure something out and let Nasha know that that's not me. He's stalking them on their way back into the dorm rooms, but then he gets stopped by a man in a pigeon suit and is told that he has been awarded the Employee of the Month, and he gets to eat a special dinner with Kenneth and his wife. And because he hasn't eaten in what I'm assuming is like 3 days, he's like, I love you, Nasha, but I also want to eat. And eat he does. Though it is the grossest food I think I've ever seen in my entire life. He is eating what can only be described as meat that looks exactly like canned cranberries. It's looking rough and it's looking moist. Then a woman walks into the room and her name is Kaya. She was a part of that expedition where that girl shot at the creepers and then like the cave crashed in and killed her. She was also Kaya's like partner or like roommate. And Kenneth has invited her to come and dine and like kind of see how she's doing, which is kind of out of character for him if you're asking me. And her meal looks significantly better than Mickey's, so like, what the heck is going on here? Kenneth tells Kaya that she has been chosen for a very special mission because she is beautiful, smart, intelligent, cunning, everything you could be as a woman. But she's tough and she's like, I am here to serve the mission because she is a loyal follower of Kenneth. And Kenneth is like, great, you're a breeder, point blank, in a sentence. And she's like, is that all you see me as? Like a person to hold a baby? Like, see me more as a person, do better, or I'm going to abandon your mission. And everyone's nervous about this. They're just like, oh, what if we just started singing? And the vibes are weird now because of the singing. And like, even Mickey looks sick. Like, he looks like he's actually gonna throw up. Wait, no, he actually is. Is he gonna throw up? Oh yeah, he's vomiting everywhere. It turns out that they gave him experimental meat without telling anybody. And so he's dying from the meat. And there's like, oh, the doctors rush in and they're like, oh, we're gonna give him some experimental painkillers. They gave him the painkillers and it does not work. And so Robert Pattinson is just flailing his body all around, breaking anything that has glass on it, and then just collapse on the floor and is like heaving and hoeing. Kenneth comes up and he's like, oh, I'm gonna put this guy out of his misery like he's a cow. And Toni Collette's like, wait, and moves her rug out from underneath his head. Is like, okay, now you can do the job. Luckily, Kaya steps in and she's like, what the heck is going on here? That's pretty messed up, you guys. And Mickey's like, yeah, it's a little messed up, but I'm feeling better. I'm feeling much better. I think I can go and sit in my dorm room. Please, everyone just stop looking at me for like 2 seconds. Like, no one's checking in to see if he's actually okay. He's like, I'm fine. And they're like, okay, but let me know. Kaya is a real girl and she's like, I'm gonna help him out because I'm a real homie. And she's taking him back to like her room and cleaning his shirt because he vomited all over it. And girlies, we get a shirtless Arpats. She's giving him some tea and they're having a little heart-to-heart moment. And then she tries to kiss him. But like, can you blame her? Honestly, Mickey's flustered by all of this and he's like, oh, I gotta zip, girl. I gotta go. And when he gets back into his dorm room, oh my gosh, Nasha's there and she's laughing it up. She is high on some of the illegal air that Timo's been selling. And she's like, holy shit, there's another one of you here. That's crazy. Mickey 18 comes out and he's like, he's also high on the air. And he's like, ugh, let's have a threesome. We don't get the threesome because Kaya walks in and is like, oh, that's illegal. I'm telling. She walks out, Nasha runs out after her and she's like, hey, let's like think about this for 2 seconds. And she's like, you're right. I want Mickey 17, you have Mickey 18. Sounds like a deal? Nasha's like, what? And so they're trying to figure out a strategy for like Kaya to be happy and like get what she wants. But back with the multiples, Mickey 18 is just like stewing in his anger. He is like a bit of a rage king. Like, he's just like upset about everything. He's watching Kenneth do his like little late night TV show he does, acting like Jimmy Kimmel up there, and is like, ooh, we should kill Kenneth. Mickey 17 is like, no, but something weird did happen tonight when I had dinner with him. And he tells him about the experimental meat, and Mickey 18 goes, okay, I'm gonna go kill Kenneth real quick. He takes Nasha's gun that she kind of just like left in the dorm room and goes to kill Kenneth. At the late night show, they're like cutting this giant rock in half and like revealing some like beautiful stone basically that they're going to carve their names into and like be the Plymouth Rock, I guess, of the planet. It's important because it plays an essential role to a plot point that's coming up, so note it, keep it in your mind for like 2 more seconds. Mickey walked into the room, points the gun at Kenneth. Kenneth sees it and he's like, what the fuck is happening here? But right before Mickey shoots the gun, a creeper comes out of the rock and everybody is freaking out. Mickey shoots the gun. It misses Kenneth, grazing his cheekbone. The creeper is out on the floor, slithering and sliding around. Everyone's trying to run out of the room. Nasha tackles Mickey 18 to the ground. Mickey 17 comes in, helps capture the creeper because he's like, I could talk and do a little fun dance with it because I kind of know what's going on. It ain't my first rodeo, girls. And then another creeper comes out of the rock. Kaya sees it. Traumatized by her best friend, she goes, oh, I'm gonna take it out. And then annihilates it with a firing squad. No, pour one out for the baby creeper. But the other creeper that's alive and has been captured is screaming. It's like, this is the worst day I've ever had. The screaming alerts all the other creepers that are on the planet, and they're like, one of us is in trouble, let's go circle the ship. So our main trio has been arrested because obviously crime, trying to kill your leader, is called assassination, and they don't approve of it. Most government officials don't. And while they're in jail, Timo walks in and he's like, hey, girly pops, so the Loan Sharks associate found me and he's going to murder me unless I murder one of you. Eeny, meeny, miny, Mickey 17, I'm going to kill you. Nasha and Mickey 18 figure out a way to get Timo to like interact with them and they knock his ass out. They steal the keys and get out and they're like, we're going to kill him. But then Kenneth is like, where are you guys going to go? Because you're standing trial right here, right now. Let's go, girls. As they're walking to the incineration room, one of the scientists is talking to Mickey and she's like, hey, we figured out how to talk to them. It's crazy. I made this kind of like tiny little translator. Isn't that so cool? They also look out the spaceship windows and you see all the creepers circling the ship. Oh, things are looking rough. In the incineration room, Kenneth is like, I'm ready to kill one of the Mickeys, but how do we choose which one dies first? Not just like, hey, I gotta tell you something real quick. They just want their child back. Not a big deal. But Kenneth is like, no, they can't have their child. They can't because this is an act of war and I want war. He's really acting like Arrow in like Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2 when Alice shows him that like Bella's baby is part human and vampire and is like not gonna be a problem. And he's like, but I wanna fight. He almost throws the baby into the incinerator, but Nasha luckily catches like the rope with her teeth. And so she's preoccupied and she's like holding this baby up, can't talk, can't advocate for anybody. So Mickey 17 has to like actively advocate for himself, which is something he doesn't do. To choose who dies first, Kenneth's wife is like, oh, you should make them go out and collect as many tails as possible for me so I can make so many sauces. Strapped with like bomb vest, they're sent out into the fucking like frenzy storm that's going on to like murder a bunch of roly-polies. And they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But before they left, the scientist gave Mickey the translator. So he goes and finds the leader and is like, hey, let's yip yap. Why are you guys like circling us? Like, what's going on? And they're just like, oh, we just want our baby back, obviously. And they're like, okay, but what if we can't give you the baby back? And they're just like, okay, we're gonna kill all the humans. And they show how they kill all the humans by going like, wah, 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 wah. It's basically like a porpoise, but deadly. The creeper leader is like, so basically I want my baby back and you have to kill one human. Back at the spaceship, Kenneth sees the Mickey's talking to the leader and he's like, okay, but why isn't that like me? Like, I'm the leader. Like, hello? What the heck? And so he takes his propaganda team out to go talk to the creeper leader and they're just like, we're going to talk and we're going to murder. And that's the way we live, laugh, and love. Nasha's also watching the screen and she sees that Mickey's like, hey, bring the baby. That's going to help us out. And she's like, okay, how do I do that? Let me put Toni Collette in a chokehold and force her to like let me free so I can go do my thing. Everyone agrees to her terms and they're like, okay, we're gonna do what Nasha wants. But as soon as they're about to give the baby over to Nasha, Toni Collette has her tiny little knife that she had to cut off the tail of the baby and like slashes Nasha. The baby starts falling into the incinerator. Someone grabs it at the last moment. Boom, baby creeper is alive. We're good. The humans are not getting annihilated today, girly pops. But Toni Collette is going to prison. So like, when you serve so hard, you do have to serve some time. Nasha grabs the baby and she's headed out. And as soon as she steps into the snow and like the creeper leader notices, she's like, that's my baby. Thank you so much. They still have to kill somebody. So who do they kill? Mickey 18 is just like, oh yeah, that's where I come in. And I feel like killing Kenneth. He does this by like being basically a suicide bomber. And boom, Kenneth is out of the picture and so is Mickey 18. R.I.P. I really did like Mickey 18. He was a real one for me. In the aftermath of like the Great Creeper War or the Great Creeper Resistance, I guess is what we're gonna call it, Toni Collette and all of like the followers of Kenneth are found guilty for treason and they get to spend the rest of life in prison. Ugh. Maybe they should get sent back to Earth. The loan shark associate that was gonna whack Timo ends up trying to whack him, but Timo gets the upper hand and pushes him into an incinerator. So I guess he's fine. What a waste of a character. Moving on. The humans and the creepers are now living in harmony, working together to like build fundamental relationships that are mutually beneficial. During their own personal trial that lasted for like months, Nasha got really upset with like the way the political system was working on their ship. So she ran for office and was elected unanimously. Good for her. What was her first act as an elected official? To destroy the human copier. They're doing this because like it's not ethical, Avi. And Mickey also has been having some like gnarly surreal dreams about Kenneth being printed out of the machine, and like Toni Collette going, lick up my floor sauce that looks a lot like blood, Mickey. Lick it up, baby. All of this just like really cements like the corporate greed and power will always have like control over someone's life if like the tools they were using to do so still exist. And so in destroying the human copier, basically Mickey is finding self-acceptance, freedom from the greed and power that has dominated his life for so long, and also giving everybody a new start to like create a better world. He pushes the button, the machine explodes, and we end the film with Mickey finally accepting himself, not as Mickey 17, but as Mickey Barnes, the Mickey 17. This movie has a lot going on, which is why this is a very long video, so I apologize, girly pops. But from colonization to corporate greed to the like political power and the fucking clowns who possess it, there's just so many things going on that you feel a bit overwhelmed, and yet there's like not a lot to chew on. At the end of the movie, you're just like, okay. And I fear that there is just like a lot of fat on Mickey 17 that like you don't want to interact with. Most of these storylines don't feel realized. The tonal shift is weird. Like if Mickey himself was acting like a Buster Keaton kind of character and being very screwbally against like all these like very serious like storylines that were taking place, I feel like the movie would have been better or more realized in that sense, and like given the messages a bit more punch to them. We could have also like trimmed the fat off of this movie and made it like less than 2 hours and 17 minutes. And I really wonder why they ended on like such a clean note when like ideally the perfect end would be to end with like a surrealist dream situation and then call it cut like right then and there. I think it's just because like the structure of the story like demanded it to end this way, but like the structure of the story kind of sucked ass, if you're gonna ask me. And again, like I'm saying all this as a criticism of like why it wasn't super impactful for me, but this is a good movie. Like it is a good weird blockbuster movie that like deserves to be seen on the big screen. Give me more fucking weirdos doing weird things like this, please. I really love it. I love, and also like the creature design of this movie is really good. Like, okay, it is a big budget movie, but like you see the budget on the screen. Like everything looks great. Like it is a good looking movie. It's just a bit messy. And aren't we all just a little messy? Overall, Mickey 17 was one of the better movies that I watched in 2025, and so I'm gonna give it an A-. Every Bong Joon-ho movie really deserves to be seen on the silver screen, so if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend going out and checking it out at your local Cineplex. It definitely deserves to be seen. I really wish I saw Snowpiercer on the silver screen. Like you know that scene where they're like in the train? I know that the entire movie takes place on a train, but you know that one scene where they're like going in and out of darkness? That would be so cool to see in an actual theater. If it's playing in LA, you let me know. But let me know what you thought about Mickey 17. Let me know what you would grade this movie. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Even share this if you've actually really enjoyed it. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.